Welcome to the 8th Synergy Speaker Series. We have another wonderful guest today. Angela Reed is here. She's actually a member of our advisory panel as well. She joined this year. She's pretty much on every organization in town, every committee that is helping young people, helping a lot of individuals in East Hartford. So when she heard about, she was actually referred to us through Allie Vest, one of our tutors, but she knows a lot of our staff, met with Ms. Riley and was just so excited to get in here, wants to know what's going on at Synergy, wants to help leave a mark and help to see what she's able to do, who she might be able to connect us with to help Synergy become even better at preparing students to be successful at high school. So today's topic is collaboration with supervisors, but she's going to talk a little bit about her experiences in general in our town and growing up and whatever she wants to help prepare us for life after high school. So I'll turn the floor over to Angela. Welcome.
All right, thank you. Thank you for having me. I got to know a little bit of each of your backgrounds and histories. My name is Angela Reed. Professionally, I work, I'm a manager at People's United Bank here in East Hartford in the Stop and Shop location. I've been with the bank for 14 years. But just to give you a little background story on who I am, where I came from, I grew up with my grandparents, my grandmother and my step-grandfather. I have an identical twin sister who's also a manager at People's. She's in the Weathersfield branch in the Stop and Shop. And we have a younger brother, and we grew up in Middletown. So my family situation is maybe like some of yours, or you could probably relate to a little bit. So I understand, how to grow up in maybe a household that wasn't maybe similar to the mom and dad, the traditional household, because I grew up with my grandparents. So I think at a young age, typically sometimes, your life experiences make you a little bit older than, quicker. And so growing up, I was involved in sports. So I was on the swim team for Middletown High. I was also on the crew team. Played junior varsity. It was a great experience to be able to work with a team environment and work together and know how to work together with different people in different types of environments. I also did a lot of stuff with the town. I was a camp counselor for many years. And growing up, I had always wanted to be a teacher. And I wanted to teach 3rd grade. I wanted to be a math teacher. I had people in my family that were teachers. And so when I graduated high school, I was like, no, I want to stay local. So I got into Central, Connecticut State University, and I was doing all my undergrad with them. And like many of you, I was a full-time student and full-time working. So as soon as I could work at 16, I started working at my local grocery store while going to school and doing sports. I would go to school in the morning, go to work, I'd go to school, go to practice, and then from like 6 to 10, I would go to work. So I was very busy, which I'm sure a lot of you are, especially when you get old enough to be able to work. You probably are working, trying to manage a bunch of things at once, because you know how you have different expenses and you want to help out. I know for me, I wanted to help out my grandparents to be able to like support us and do whatever we could to just help out the family. So I went to college, and I had a friend that was actually working at the bank. And he's like, hey, you should really consider working at the bank. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to work at the bank, And I was 19, and he's like, oh, no, they hire a lot of students, and they'll really be able to be flexible with you in, while you're going to school. And I was like, oh, okay. So I did that. So I started at the bank at 19. And working at the bank is very similar to any type of retail environment that you're working at. So I know some of you had mentioned that you work at Dunkin' Donuts, or you work for landscaping, or you work for your family's business. It puts you in front of customers, so it's all about the customer service, customer experience, working with customers, working with your colleagues, different supervisors, managers. And I think that was probably one of the best things that I did, and I'm very happy that I started working at a young age, because I was able to get all the experience that helped me be able to be successful when I was at the bank. So today I know our topic is collaborating with supervisors, colleagues, managers, and I actually went online to print out maybe what they said this actually was. So they touched on 4 categories: developing new ideas, lowering company cost, establishing organizational structure, engaging policy effectiveness, And I just wanted to share maybe some experiences that you can like really relate to that would go along with these ideas, and what I look for as a manager when I hire new employees to come in. So developing new ideas from, you know, when I hire a new employee, and how I gauge how they're able to communicate effectively with each other, so their colleagues that they're working with and me, is how they talk, how they're speaking. Are they speaking text talk? Because I know a lot of us use, you know, shorter words and symbols to communicate with each other, but that's not how we traditionally communicate in the workforce or, you know, in a professional setting at school. So, you know, are they completing sentences? Are they looking at me? Are they looking in, you know, directly eye-to-eye contact? Are they actually, looks like we might have someone joining us. Oh, that's okay. Are they actually trying to talk to me like one-on-one, or are they just kind of like walking through and not really paying attention? And then, you know, how engaged are they in the actual job? Are they interested in being at work? Are they interested in learning about their colleagues? Are they interested in, you know, really doing well at their job and progressing into whatever they want to do? Because sometimes, you know, even working at, you know, when you come to the bank or working at Dunkin' Donuts, or that might just be your first step, and it may not be the step that you ultimately want to get to, but you want to take advantage of whatever opportunity you have. My background, I started working at the grocery store, but working at the grocery store, I was a cashier, and then I moved from a cashier to, you know, all those self-scan registers that they have now? Well, when I was 16, they didn't have those. And I think around when I was 17 is when they started implementing those in the grocery store. And actually Middletown, it was back then, it was A&P and Wallbounds. Changed a couple names like Superfood Mart, but they actually brought those in and they were testing them. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I remember I talked to my supervisor and I was like, hey, you know, I'd really like to work in one of those computerized machines. You know, do you think I'd be able to do that? And they were like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm interested. And so after that, my supervisor came to me and said, hey, you know, I think we could use you to be able to run those machines since you're here at the times that we really need someone, because I was working from like 6 to 10. And so I was like, oh, that'd be great. So that opportunity came up and I really got to learn like the systems and how they worked. But then really what it allowed me to do was work with other managers and supervisors of the store that I wasn't able to work with before as a cashier. As a cashier, I was really ringing out and not really involved in any meetings. You know, as a 17-year-old kid, maybe you're not really looking for that, but I was like, oh, this would be kind of cool because I get to run my own thing. So there were 4 computers and it was really just me. So I was like, oh, that'd be nice because then I get to just, you know, do my own thing, manage, you know, the groceries and help customers cash out. So it allowed me to implement, you know, that part of the new ideas going on in the store, and just the interaction with my supervisor and then the store manager and going to meetings and really having a voice. Because sometimes I think you may not feel that you have a voice at a young age, but you do. And you may not think people are listening, but they are. They're listening to your ideas. You guys have so much to offer, especially with the technology nowadays. You guys are doing technology all day long, and you may not think that you know as much as you really do, but you do. Because in the workforce, you know, my generation, older generation, they're not using technology in the same way you guys do. You guys use it every single day without even knowing. I mean, how many of you actually use an alarm clock anymore? Do you use an alarm clock, or do you use your phone to set your alarm? Probably use your phone. I use an alarm clock. So, I mean, how many of you have a home phone? Okay, so one of you out of the room.
Come on, that's a serious question.
Most people don't have a home phone anymore. They have their cell phone because everyone's on the go. So there's a lot of things you actually know and can contribute to an organization by helping them lower cost, which was the next category. So there's a lot of different things that you can lower cost for a company. When you're talking to your supervisor or manager and you're working at Dunkin' Donuts, and you see, you know, as a new Dunkin' Donuts employee or even working at a retail store, Maybe you're working there for a couple weeks and you notice, oh, you know what, we're always taking out the trash at 12 o'clock. What do you think about maybe we should take out the trash at 11 o'clock? Because 12 o'clock we usually get a rush. That's a small suggestion, but a huge impact on your organization. And you may not see it at first, but it is. It's like, oh wow, I never thought of that. Yeah, why don't we take everything out at 11 o'clock because it takes us like 40 minutes to do that process. And then at 12 o'clock, we have more people on the line to be able to help our customers in and out because the drive-through gets crazy or people are coming in and everyone's taking a break at that time. Even with the technology, it's, you know what, you guys are doing all this stuff on a paper form, but I'm really good at Excel. Like I can develop an Excel sheet and print this out for you. Is that something that could help you? As a supervisor manager, yeah, that could help me. You want to take that on? Fine, go for it. And so something to you that may seem so easy actually could impact the organization in a big way. And those are small things that you can do as you're working in your organization. Even you with working with your dad and as a mechanic, right? So you may not know all the steps that your dad does, but you know what, Dad? All your tools are a mess. Like I can really organize this for you. We can put it into a nice container. Well, you're helping him tremendously because when he has to go look for that tool, now he can just go to the system that you put in place, take the tool, be able to work on his job much quicker than he was before. So any little thing that you can do in the organization, whatever you're doing, working, or even if it's like a group thing, if you're working in for a club or you're working with your church, if you can find just a little part where you can make an impact and talk to your, whoever you're working with, and then see if that's going to help them, that is going to be a big help to any organization that you're in. The next thing is establishing organizational structure. What I was thinking in that area is really understanding your role and how you can impact the company or the organization that you're with. And it could be as small as, I'm a cashier, so my job is to be the best cashier that I can be, and that's how I've always looked at it. So maybe it's not, I don't want to be a cashier here in a year or 5 years, or maybe it is I want to just be a cashier. Because sometimes understanding what you really want to do, maybe you're in a part-time job, maybe you're in a full-time job, maybe you're just working this job to be able to have extra money because you're saving up for a trip. Just be the best at the position that you're in and look for small ways to maybe improve that position goes a long way. The other thing that I would say is really talking to your supervisor, your manager, whoever your direct report is, and understanding what they see your role as. And having that open dialogue regularly, saying, am I doing everything that you expect me to be doing? Is there something else that I'm not doing that maybe you want to see me do? If there isn't, great. But if there is, take that constructive feedback and criticism and then just go forward. Typically in the workplace, it's not emotional. It's just business. And I know people say that and it doesn't sound real, but it's true. Everyone working there is working for a common goal. Sometimes people can get wrapped up in, oh, this person said this to me, or this person said that to me, or this person did this and this person did that. It's so easy to get wrapped up into that, but try not to. And as long as you stick to facts and, well, maybe this person did this, and I understand that they were trying to accomplish this, but maybe there could have been a better approach to it. So sometimes, we could, make suggestions or do things, but we just have to sit back and take a minute and say, okay, well, what really was what am I really talking about? How can I really, deliver what I'm saying in a professional way so it doesn't come across that I'm just, throwing this person, under the bus or something, or, really singling that person out. So it's important to, have that open dialogue with your manager and supervisor to understand what your role is in the organization and how you can really help the organization or business that you're in. And then gauging policy effectiveness. So really this is where it comes into the rules of the organization. So, how things are being done, what things should be done, what things shouldn't be done. So when you're working for somewhere, you obviously want to know what their dress code is, and you want to know how certain procedures are being done. And you want to know kind of like the chain of command on how things run. Because I wouldn't want to go to my boss's boss in my organization and say, hey, you know, my boss is supposed to do this the other week and she didn't do it, that's probably not the best approach to have, right? Because I'd probably want to go to my boss and say, hey, you know, I thought you were supposed to do this and I wasn't sure, maybe I missed something, so then we can talk about it first. Because you're not going to want to go to your boss's boss, because then obviously your boss is probably going to get upset. So it's important to be able to communicate with your direct person, to be able to minimize those situations where maybe that middle person might feel like they're left out or slighted in some way, because that could really hurt you in your organization, and it doesn't help anyone to, you know, go above someone and, you know, kind of be like that person that's ratting someone out. And you may very well have a valid reason to probably bring something up, but your first step would always be to bring it to your direct report. Especially if there's something going on with your colleagues. You want to try and resolve problems or issues or concerns directly with a colleague. And sometimes you can resolve them directly with the other person, and sometimes you can't. But if you can't, at least you tried with that direct person. You know, hey, I came in today and, you know, you kind of said a smart remark to me. Was there something wrong? Did I do something? I always found that if there is an issue going on, I would always put the onus on me, even though it may not be me. Just say, hey, you know, did I do something wrong? And maybe that person will say, oh no, you didn't do anything, I was just having a bad day. It's like, oh, okay, I just wanted to make sure we're cool. Or the person can say, you know what, yeah, you came in and the other day you had told me something and I did it that way and it didn't work and I was really frustrated with it. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize. Hey, you know what, why don't I just show you how to do it or how I do it, and then maybe that'll work. So sometimes it can be something so small, but then it escalates to something so much bigger because you didn't have the communication to just talk about it. So when this subject came up, I think that was really what I think maybe it was looking for, like just communicating is key. Talking about stuff works. So any issue, anything that comes up, or how you carry yourself in any of the type of jobs that you're going to have from now going forward, it's just about talking, communicating, and really getting exactly what it is you're trying to get, because no one wants to beat around the bush. It's like, okay, what is it that really you're talking about, whether it's positive or negative. So I hope, I don't know how much time I have, but I hope that was enough.
That was great. Let's open up the floor for questions. I have one, but I want to see if you guys have one first.
Yeah.
It's not really just a comment. So you know how I was talking about how like technology is like advanced and stuff. Like there is this new car, and it's advanced to where you really don't need to drive it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a little map kind of on the bottom of the screen, and all you gotta do is like swipe it and stuff like that. You don't gotta touch it, just like that. You put which direction you want. They have, I don't know, I guess like the way it looks like is if it's like you're from above of the area.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like the highway and whatever. And then you can see like if there's any, what is it?
But like traffic?
Yeah, like any traffic and like which lanes, what sides are, what routes are available and whatever. And it's German engineering, I believe, and it's ridiculous because it looks so nice. It looks very like way better than our technology now. And yeah, it's like
Technology moves so fast, and if it's something that you're interested in, and if you find yourself fiddling with apps and doing all that stuff, find a passion for what you want to do. And I know coming to the bank, it seemed like it was so far-fetched from teaching, but what ended up happening was I left Central and I went to Albertus Magnus here in town, and it's really not that much different than teaching. In banking, a lot of things change all the time, and one of my passions is working with my staff and having them grow to the next level. And a lot of my staff members have gone to supervisor positions, managers, left the organization, and have done other things that they're passionate about, but have moved to the next level. So it doesn't matter what really you're in, but find a passion for what you love to do, because it's gonna make your job so much more easier. because it's not going to feel like a job anymore. It's just going to feel like, you know, your life.
So if you love what you're doing, you're working with other people who love what they're doing. Your supervisor even loves what you're doing, or what both of you are doing on the job. It can be a lot easier to collaborate. It can be a lot easier to have discussions when things are going well. One thing I hear from students a lot, with me maybe, or with teachers, or just in general, you're sometimes asked a direction or asked to do something and you might not want to do it. It happens in school, definitely happens in the world of work. And so I'm going to throw a question to Angela, something that I think we all probably have wondered about at some point. What happens when you have a supervisor who gives you a direction or a request and you don't like it? What are some strategies to do? Because I think that's something we all